The Philadelphia Eagles just got the kind of news that can shift the energy of an entire fan base from panic to pure relief. We're talking about Pro Bowl guard Landon Dickerson, a cornerstone of that offensive line, the heartbeat of this team's physical identity, and someone who looked like he could be staring down a season-ending nightmare. Sunday night at Lincoln Financial Field, the defending NFC champions held their one and only open practice of training camp. The kind of night that feels more like a celebration than a workout. Over 60,000 fans packed the Link for what was supposed to be nothing but excitement. Cheers for the new acquisitions, anticipation for another run at the Lombardi, and that electric connection between the city and the team that only Philadelphia can bring. But late in the session, that joyful noise turned into a hush you could feel in your bones. During team drills, Dickerson went down. No big collision. No screaming in pain, but the sight of him staying down and eventually being carted off was enough to make the mood shift instantly. This wasn't just a good player limping off. This was one of the absolute best guards in the entire NFL, a leader in the locker room, the man who has opened holes for Saquon Barkley and stood shoulder to shoulder with Jason Kelce in the trenches. The way his teammates reacted told you everything. They weren't shrugging this off. This looked bad. Fans, coaches, players, everyone in that stadium had the same thought. Please, not an ACL. Please, not an Achilles. Please, not something that ends the season before it starts. That's why the past 24 hours have felt like an emotional roller coaster. By Monday morning, Adam Schefter reported that Dickerson was undergoing an MRI on his knee. No official details yet, but the speculation machine went into overdrive. Social media doctors started breaking down the video clip frame by frame, trying to diagnose the injury from a grainy angle. The whispers were about an Achilles tear, which would have been catastrophic. Then came the first piece of good news. It wasn't the Achilles. The MRI showed a meniscus injury. That's still concerning, but compared to the worst-case scenarios, it was like someone had just cracked a window in a stuffy room and let in some fresh air. And then, just a few hours later, the best update possible hit the timeline. Dickerson will undergo what's being described as a minor procedure on his right knee, and he's considered week to week. The goal? Have him ready for the season opener on Thursday, September 4th, against none other than the Dallas Cowboys. If that target holds, the Eagles just dodged one of the biggest bullets imaginable. It's a huge swing from this might wreck the season to we might have him back when it counts most. This is a massive win for the Eagles for more reasons than just the on-field talent. Dickerson isn't just a mauler in the run game or a wall in pass protection. He's a voice in that locker room, a guy who fires up his teammates before kickoff with speeches that have gone viral. Last season, with Jason Kelce, Fletcher Cox, and Brandon Graham all nearing the end of their legendary runs, it was Dickerson who stepped up as part of the next wave of leaders. You could see it on the sideline, in the huddle, in the way younger players gravitated toward him. The Eagles' culture, built by Nick Sirianni and a core of veteran champions, relies on players like Dickerson to keep that standard alive. Losing him would have been more than just replacing a body. It would have meant trying to replace a tone setter. From a football perspective, you simply don't just plug in another Landon Dickerson. He's one of the highest-paid guards in the league for a reason. Philadelphia invested in him heavily last year, making him, at the time, the top earner at the position before Kansas City's Trey Smith passed him. His combination of power, technique, and awareness is rare, and it shows up not just in highlight blocks, but in the subtle plays that make the Eagles' offense click. Saquon Barkley's best runs last year often came behind Dickerson's pulling blocks. The infamous tush-push that everyone around the league complains about. It doesn't work without the kind of low-man leverage and drive that Dickerson brings to the interior. Looking at the numbers just confirms what the eye test already tells you. His overall PFF grade in 2024 was 79.2, ranking 13th among over 130 guards in the league. His run-blocking grade was elite at 79.7, 12th best overall, and his pass blocking was steady at 73.6. But those grades, as good as they are, still undersell his impact. Watch him for a full game, and you see the way he communicates pre-snap, how he recognizes defensive shifts, and how he finishes every block with a little extra shove that wears defenders down over 4 quarters. Of course, if the injury had been more severe, the Eagles had some contingency plans. There's Kenyon Green, a former first-round talent acquired in the C.J. Gardner-Johnson trade, who the coaching staff hopes can be salvaged under offensive line coach Jeff Stoutland. There's Tyler Steen, who filled in at left guard in the NFC Championship game when Dickerson had to slide to center, and Brett Toth, who's been a reliable depth piece. Rookie Trevor Keegan, fresh off a national championship with Michigan, is another option, as are Cam Williams and Miles Hinton, both natural tackles who could be shifted inside. In free agency, veteran Brandon Scherf would be the most intriguing name, still capable despite being late in his career. And knowing Howie Roseman, a trade is always on the table. But all of that becomes background noise now that it looks like Dickerson's absence will be short. The bigger point here is that the Eagles' offensive line is the backbone of this entire roster. Sure, Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, A.J. Brown, and Devonta Smith get the headlines. On defense, you've got Jalen Carter and a wave of young pass rushers. But none of it works without the dominance up front. This has been the formula for years in Philadelphia. Control the line of scrimmage, impose your will, and let your skilled players thrive. Losing a player of Dickerson's caliber for months could have cracked that foundation. Now, with the hope he's ready for Week 1, that foundation looks solid again. There's still a bit of caution here. Meniscus injuries can be tricky. If it's a complex tear, recovery can stretch out, and players don't always come back at full strength right away. Philadelphia fans don't have to look far for a reminder. Joel Embiid's battles with meniscus problems have been a saga of setbacks and extended timelines. But the fact that this is being labeled as minor and that there's already a return date circled is reason to exhale. Given Dickerson's history, torn ACLs in both knees during his college days at Alabama, you know the medical staff will be monitoring every step of this recovery. And knowing him, he'll be pushing to be back on the field as soon as humanly possible. For now, the narrative flips from fear to focus. Instead of spending the next month debating how to replace him, the conversation can shift back to the bigger picture. How this team stacks up against the Cowboys in that opener, how the offense looks with Barkley in the backfield, and how Sirianni plans to keep the momentum going from back-to-back deep playoff runs. That Week 1 stage at the Link, raising another banner in front of Dallas, just got a whole lot more exciting with the possibility of number 69 anchoring that left side of the line. When you really think about it, the Landon Dickerson scare wasn't just about losing a talented player for a few weeks or months. It was about the domino effect that would have followed. This Eagles roster is stacked, but there's a reason their offensive line is constantly ranked among the league's best. It's not just because of individual talent. It's because of the chemistry, the trust, and the rhythm that this specific group has developed over the years. You take one of those pieces out, especially someone who's been to 3 straight Pro Bowls and has earned the respect of every defensive lineman he faces, and suddenly the whole operation changes. The left guard spot isn't just about blocking the guy in front of you. It's about knowing how Jordan Mailata is going to handle a particular stunt, about feeling the timing of Jason Kelce's snap before it even happens, about recognizing a disguised blitz before the quarterback does. Dickerson has that instinctive awareness, and you don't just drop someone in off the street and expect it to work the same way. That's why Sunday night's open practice went from a celebration to a sobering reality check in a matter of minutes. The Link was buzzing before kickoff, fans waving signs, kids wearing fresh Saquon Barkley jerseys, the whole place pulsing like it was Week 1 already. You had players soaking it in too. A.J. Brown tossing balls to fans in the stands, Devonta Smith doing his signature calm-and-collected walk back to the huddle, Jalen Hurts in command mode, pointing out coverages during warm-ups. Everything about it screamed excitement and anticipation. But when Dickerson went down during a relatively routine team drill, it was like someone hit a mute button on the stadium. Fans leaned forward in their seats. The players formed a circle, trainers rushed in, and you could feel the anxiety rolling off everyone. In Philadelphia, offensive linemen aren't just big guys in the trenches, they're local celebrities. Jason Kelce made that clear over his career, becoming as beloved as any skill position player. And Dickerson has been cut from that same cloth, winning over the city with his toughness, personality, and the fact that he plays through pain like it's just another part of the job. Seeing him carted off, even if he gave a wave on the way out, was like a gut punch. That's why the news of it being just a meniscus injury with a minor procedure planned felt like winning a playoff game. From there, the conversation shifted quickly from what now to all right, how soon could he be back? Week to week is the official label, but if you know anything about NFL timelines, you know that's a bit of a gray area. For some, week to week means missing a month. For others, it's a week or two and they're back in pads. The target of Week 1 against Dallas isn't just ambitious, it's personal. Cowboys-Eagles is never just another game, and opening the season with that rivalry, raising a banner at the Link, has all the makings of a statement night. Having Dickerson in that lineup would be a huge piece of that statement. If you rewind the tape from last season, you see just how much of Philadelphia's offense runs through that left side of the line. Whether it's Barkley bouncing runs outside behind Mailata's massive frame, or cutting inside off a Dickerson block, or Hurts stepping up in the pocket because his guard and tackle have created a clean wall, it's all connected. Even the infamous tush-push quarterback sneak, Dickerson's leverage and lower body power are one of the reasons that play works so well. He doesn't just block, he moves people. Defenders don't just get held up by him. They get driven backwards, sometimes into their own linebackers, and that's demoralizing over 4 quarters. And then there's the leadership aspect, which can't be overstated. With veterans like Kelsey, Cox, and Graham on the verge of stepping away from the game, there's a void in the leadership structure. Sure, Hurts is the face of the franchise, and guys like A.J. Brown bring their own kind of energy, but the offensive line is a different kind of brotherhood. Dickerson has been the guy in the huddle telling his teammates that they're going to impose their will, that defenders need to remember your name after the game. That kind of presence doesn't just get replaced. Even when he's not in the huddle, his absence is felt. That's why offensive line coach Jeff Stoutland's job would have become exponentially harder without him. Stoutland is widely regarded as one of the best in the business, a coach who can take late-round picks and turn them into starters. But even he would admit that losing a player like Dickerson in August would have forced a lot of shuffling. Kenyon Green has talent, but hasn't lived up to it yet. Tyler Steen can fill in, but he's still developing. Brett Toff is reliable, but not the same physical presence. Rookies like Keegan, Williams, and Hinton are projects, even if they come from strong programs. You could go out and get a veteran like Brandon Scherf, but then you're talking about integrating someone new into a line that thrives on continuity. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest updates on our Philadelphia Eagles. And don't be shy. Share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. Rumors are swirling in the NFL world as whispers emerge about a potential seismic shift in the league's defensive landscape. Sources close to the matter suggest that Aaron Donald, one of the most feared defensive players in recent memory, might be reconsidering his previously announced retirement. The buzz began after an unexpected report surfaced indicating that the Philadelphia Eagles have sealed a mega deal to bring the defensive powerhouse onto their roster. If true, this could instantly transform the Eagles' defense into one of the most formidable units the league has ever seen. The mere possibility of Donald suiting up again has sent shockwaves through football circles, with experts speculating how this move could alter the balance of power within the NFC East and the NFL at large. Fans are left in eager anticipation, pondering the implications of having such a disruptive force anchoring the Eagles' defensive line. The potential reunion between Donald and the NFL spotlight would not only electrify Philadelphia, but could also inspire a new era of defensive dominance that might echo for years to come. This development, still shrouded in uncertainty, has become the hottest topic among analysts, commentators, and fans who crave a game-changing story to dissect as the new season approaches. Further conjecture surrounds the details of the deal itself, with insiders hinting that the contract is nothing short of historic. The rumored terms reportedly involve a massive financial commitment, signaling the Eagles' intent to invest heavily in their defensive capabilities. This strategic move might be a response to recent challenges faced by the team, as they seek to bolster their roster with proven talent capable of shifting game momentum through sheer physicality and skill. The possibility of Aaron Donald donning the Eagles' colors again after stepping away from professional football ignites conversations about how the team's coaching staff plans to integrate such a dominant presence into their defensive schemes. Speculation also arises about how this signing might influence team dynamics and locker room culture, potentially setting a new standard for excellence and professionalism. Although nothing is officially confirmed, the excitement around this potential blockbuster acquisition continues to build, with many viewing it as a masterstroke that could propel the Eagles to new heights and reinvigorate their fan base, hungry for a championship-caliber defense. The NFL community is abuzz with predictions about how Aaron Donald's return could impact the league's competitive landscape. The defensive lineman's reputation for relentless pressure on quarterbacks and disruptive tackles precedes him, and his possible arrival in Philadelphia could spell trouble for rival offenses. Coaches and players across the NFL reportedly have taken notice, with many already adjusting their offseason plans to account for this looming threat. The speculation extends to potential matchups and game strategies that would need to be devised to counteract the presence of such an elite talent. Fans and analysts alike are dissecting film and stats to imagine scenarios where Donald's unique skill set changes the outcome of critical games. Conversations about the Eagles' chances in the playoffs have intensified, with some experts arguing that this signing could be the missing piece for a team eager to reclaim glory. Yet, questions remain about Donald's readiness and physical condition after contemplating retirement, and whether he can return to his peak form. Still, the tantalizing prospect of his comeback fuels endless debate, making this developing story one of the most compelling narratives heading into the NFL's new season. Amid the swirling rumors, discussions also focus on the broader implications for player movement and retirement trends within the NFL. Aaron Donald's potential decision to come out of retirement for a mega contract with the Eagles might set a precedent for other star players contemplating their futures. This scenario prompts conversations about the motivations behind such moves, ranging from personal desire to compete, financial incentives, or the allure of joining a team with championship aspirations. The narrative is enriched by speculation on how this development could influence negotiations league-wide, shifting power dynamics between players and franchises. Additionally, there's chatter about how this could affect the Eagles' salary cap situation and roster construction, forcing the team to make tough decisions elsewhere. The ripple effect of this rumored signing extends beyond just one player or one team, touching on the evolving nature of professional football and the business strategies that underpin team-building efforts. Observers are eager to see whether this will mark a new chapter in NFL history, where big-name veterans reconsider retirement in pursuit of one last shot at greatness, reshaping the league's landscape in the process. As the speculation continues to build, social media and sports talk shows are filled with passionate debates and fan reactions to the possibility of Aaron Donald joining the Eagles. The buzz around this potential blockbuster deal reflects not only the high stakes involved, but also the emotional connection fans have with the game and its stars. Many Eagles supporters express a renewed sense of hope and excitement, dreaming of a defense anchored by one of the most dominant forces the NFL has ever seen. Meanwhile, rival fan bases voice concern and frustration, anticipating the challenge of facing such a formidable opponent on the field. This developing story has transcended typical off-season chatter, becoming a cultural phenomenon within the sports world. If confirmed, it could mark one of the most dramatic comebacks and signings in recent memory, elevating the NFL's profile and offering a thrilling narrative for the upcoming season. Until official announcements are made, the rumor mill will continue to churn, feeding the hunger for news and leaving fans on the edge of their seats, eagerly awaiting the next chapter in this unfolding saga. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Philadelphia Eagles, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.